Hey, it's Adam, your internet chess coach. This game is part of a segment of a full analysis video. If you want the full video, click the link below. Otherwise, stay tuned and watch this just single game. White is speed of light, Hikaru black. For this game, I'm not going to comment as much. I'm just going to, for my own chess improvement, I'm going to do more analysis afterwards. This is your chance to also anticipate the moves, try to understand the plans. I'm going to be thinking, anticipating my mind. Okay, I may comment a little as well this game. We'll see. If anything pops up as interesting. H takes. Knight takes. Wait, knight takes doesn't work. Bishop g5. Just knight d7 looks fine. That's an interesting move. But does he really want to take? Bishop takes, queen takes. Hikaru's happy with that. Queen takes c5. And rook c8, maybe he doesn't want to play. Knight takes g6, wow. Okay, this either is really good or really bad. Knight h8. Then queen e6. Queen t5, going for a counterattack. Okay, queen takes g6, queen h1, king f2, rook f8, king e1, queen take... Wait, queen... Maybe queen takes h2 immediately. Yeah, and take the bishop, and if rook h1, then queen g4, queen h7, king f8. Still, it's really tricky, actually. Okay, if you take rook h1, then you have queen takes g3, so I think you could go for it. Yeah, this just doesn't work for white. Rook h1, queen g3, king d2. And then what? Maybe just queen g2 there. You can't go king d1 or c1. So you have to go to e3. And I don't see a mate. So maybe just like rook. Okay, rook f7. Going for a checkmate. Do you play queen h7? Just eliminate any attack. Here you might have bishop d5 and e6, surprisingly. It doesn't go for it. Okay, e6. Take on a8, take on f7. Rook takes g7. Oh, but then the bishop on g5 falls. Rook takes, queen takes a8. Queen takes g5. Hikaru sacks back material. Now the rook is hanging and the bishop is hanging. The bishop's hanging with check. What a brilliant move. Absolutely brilliant move. Absolutely brilliant. Also very strong move. That's just game over. Completely game over. White resigns the game. Very impressed with the defensive skill there with bishop b7. Let's go to our game analysis. Hikaru with black pieces. Let's turn on the engine. Pawn to e4, pawn c5, knight c3, a6, f4, b5, knight f3, bishop e7, d3, and we have a close Sicilian. White's main plan is h3, g4, f5, or just f5, queen e1. He goes for e5 right away. Knight d5. Important to note that he doesn't take here, allowing the pawn to take. And not only that, but the bishop opens up and the rook opens up on the f file. So he keeps the bishop and the rook at bay by knight e5. Also played that instantly. Queen to e1, takes, and castles. Black is slightly better here because of white's damaged pawn structure, but white does have a nice space advantage at the moment. And here white plays f5, which is a slight mistake, but not that big of a deal. It's not the best in this case. Better was g4 first. And f5, just not giving away potentially the f5 pawn. But Hikaru takes with the d pawn here. And after takes back with the h pawn towards the center and bishop g5. Here I thought queen d6. Okay, knight d7 is a perfect move, but queen d6 makes a lot of sense to me. Getting off of the pin, covering the third rank, and playing knight d7 next. He got into a bit of a pickle here after knight d7, bishop h3, rook to e8. Still better. Queen f2 and f5. He went in the wrong direction here. So engine says knight to f6, and if you take, then queen d5 going for mate. If bishop g2, we take, and take on g5 is winning. So after queen takes, white has to insert this move, and then black still retains his extra pawn here. Rook a7 and bishop f3. But white has the two bishops. Not so clear what you're going to do with this knight. Can't really go to d5, g4, h5. So very difficult to play. Knight f6 in this case. The knight is under attack, and this pawn is also a little bit under attack. There's also this pin. So there's a lot of pressure here, and Hikaru makes a mistake with f5. You could also just ignore it. I wonder if just rook c8 makes sense. Yeah, rook c8's fine. c4 engine likes best. What about queen c7? Queen c7 also fine. He doesn't want to go f6 and allow like bishop to e6. So I think this is where he had some slight difficulties. And he took, I think, his longest decision of the game and went f5. And I don't like f5. Even though it temporarily blocks the bishop, you can play the move, wait, g4 then f4. Okay, maybe the reason I don't like it is just this diagonal, but something that white did was try to take advantage of it with knight g6, taking advantage of that weak pawn. And you can't go e6 because of the pin. So black a little bit off this game, but better because he's up a pawn, and if he plays with perfect defense. Knight f8, white sacks. White sacks the knight and gets an initiative, but it's not enough. So white's over ambitious, trying to play for activity, Black is better here, so black is just going to play queen d5, e6, consolidate the position. f5 will be completely defended. Maybe king h7, and then maybe knight d7, knight f6. Black will be completely fine. And white won't have his initiative at all. So he goes for it immediately, just sensing this is the moment. And after takes, queen d5, queen takes g6, queen h1, takes, and here queen takes h3. And I was anticipating rook f1, which just completely loses to bishop takes, which was missed. Rook f7, queen h7, queen e6. I thought bishop d5 here, but it doesn't work at all. After e6, queen d7 defends. Bishop c8, queen d5, e6. Better was queen g6. Very scary move to make because of like rook f6. But after e6, you can take with check and then with... Okay, so Hikaru had a lot of time here to think, and he's using his time quite well and trying to find a defense. Bishop c8, hitting the queen, queen d5, keeping pressure on the pin, and playing a mistake with e6, but also a very difficult move not to play, because anytime you move the rook, it comes with a check. So he immediately blocks it. e6, queen c6, not taking the rook because of king takes rook here. And after rook f1, king comes back to g8, queen's coming to g6. And black is a piece. So queen c6, I would say actually is a brilliant move. And if the king takes, then white wins the game with rook f1. If king g8, then queen takes on e8. And then Hikaru finds the only move in the position. The rook is threatened. If you go rook f8, he takes and takes on h1. He finds the only move connecting the rooks, bishop to b7. White is back in the game by taking, but he's slow on time as well. Queen g6, rook takes. The threat is a double attack. Maybe this is why Hikaru saw bishop e7 and queen g6 and thought I'm going to be getting my piece back anyways. And takes, and black collapsed here after white collapsed here. After rook f8, you cannot take the pawn because of rook f5. So bishop to e3, hitting the pawn. White was able to get back in the game, actually. If this pawn drops, that's actually, I think, fine. If white can win this pawn on e5 or just stop the pawn from advancing, then the bishop will be able to hold on to the queen side. The combined with the rook, maybe create some threats, maybe even win the game. Down material. Highly doubt it, but it's possible that white is going to have very solid structure. The white king will be safe on e5, able to maneuver, and he just blunders in one move. So let's go to our sheets. Game number 3, Hikaru was with black. Speed of light was white. Put this in black. And the opening was a closed Sicilian. And Hikaru plays a6, b5, bishop b7, g6. And not knight e7, but he goes knight f6. And white plays for e5. Okay, I'm just focusing on Hikaru. Main reason for win, black had the advantage the whole game. And white gave away material, looking for an initiative. I would say gave away material incorrectly. Looking for the initiative. Sorry, I'll come back to my sheets page. Sorry. Looking for the initiative. Looking for the initiative. And black defended very well. So main reason for a win is black defended very well. There was a lot of counterplay by white, but black was able to successfully hold and come out with material surplus. That's the main reason for his win. Main reason for loss is actually white blundered the game with one move after a lot of trades and trades of queens. He missed a simple tactic with rook f5. Notes: white was able to get back in the game with an initiative. And Hikaru didn't find the absolute perfect defense, but a defense that was good enough to secure his edge. When black had a discovered attack with the queen, Hikaru chose the more simpler approach and then found a brilliant and only defensive move. All right, can you start to see some patterns here as to why Hikaru's winning and why the opponent's, even though it's so high rated, still losing? Is Hikaru's not making any significant blunders or errors, whereas his opponent is making some blunders a little bit, and white is finding a tactical blow to take advantage of it. Last game, bishop f5 was a blunder. Hikaru took advantage. And this game, his opponent at the end there blundered, and Hikaru took advantage. The last move was probably more simplistic, but nonetheless, Hikaru's not making any errors, noticing his opponent's errors and taking advantage of it.